Introduction and Navigation. Congratulations on purchasing your KORG HAVIAN-30 digital ensemble piano. This musical instrument incorporates over 3 decades of arranger technology development with over 50 years of KORG's worldwide respected sound quality. The moment you turn on the HAVIAN-30, the feel and sound of a beautiful stereo piano is there at your fingertips. Relax. Enjoy. It's that easy. When you're ready, this hour-long video manual will help you get started quickly and guide you through the many creative and musical features awaiting you. We'll cover the main functions of your HAVIAN-30, and each exercise will be brief, but it should be enough to get you started. We recommend that you follow the video all the way through the first time, pausing when necessary. Then later, go back to specific chapters. If you need further explanation on anything contained in this video manual or want information on something not covered, the PDF manuals on the accessory disc that came with your HAVIAN-30 will answer any questions you may have. An optional stand is available for the HAVIAN-30. If you have the stand, you may want to jump ahead to the chapter called Stand Assembly that explains how to put together the stand and make all the necessary connections. Then once everything is assembled and connected, return to this chapter and continue on. Before we get started, let's restart the HAVIAN-30 so we'll both be in the same place from the beginning. Hold down the power button for a few seconds to turn it off. The screen will dim for a short period, then go completely black. Now turn it back on. It takes 30 seconds or so to start up, loading in all the necessary data like styles, sounds, etc., similar to when you start a computer. By the way, don't worry if the styles and sounds in your instrument are different or organized in different locations than shown in the video. The ones used in this video are for example only. If you're instructed to select a particular style or sound and either it isn't there or the name is different, select any other and continue to follow along. Okay, let's get started. You'll notice there are switches and knobs on the top panel assigned to functions for immediate access. We'll get to most of these through the course of the video. For now, let's look at a few of the main ones. The master volume is here, and this balance knob adjusts the balance between the sounds you are playing on the keyboard, these are called the keyboard tracks, and the sounds of the accompaniment or song. If it's all the way to the left, you won't hear the keyboard tracks at all, so for now, set this to the middle position. To the right, you'll find the mode buttons for accessing the 3 main functions of the HAVIAN-30. Playing styles, playing songs, and creating songs. Global is for adjusting parameters that affect the HAVIAN-30 as a whole, for example, master transpose. Media is for accessing save, load, and other internal and external drive functions. When the instrument is first turned on, it will come up in style play mode. On the far right of the control surface, you'll find these buttons that adjust the octave of the upper keyboard sounds, and these buttons that quickly transpose the entire HAVIAN-30 up and down. Pressing both buttons simultaneously resets any transposition or octave changes you've made. This color touch screen is the heart of the HAVIAN-30 interface. The brightness of the screen can be adjusted by holding down the menu button and turning the value dial to set it to the brightness that works best for you. It will retain that setting until you choose to adjust it again. You'll find that using and navigating the screen interface is very easy and intuitive. It's like using the touch screen of a tablet or a smartphone. For example, this home page appears when turning the instrument on. It's the main page of style play mode. Pressing the menu button on the control panel allows you to jump to different sections of the mode you're in. Choose the mixer tuning section. These tabs take you to different pages where, in this case, you can adjust volumes, effect amount, etc. Let's go back to the Volume Pan tab. The values, sometimes called parameters, can be adjusted in a few ways. In many cases, there are knobs and sliders that can be touched and dragged directly on the screen. Another way is to touch the parameter and use the value dial to the right of the screen. Touching a parameter twice brings up a numeric keypad where you can enter the value you want. You'll also occasionally find boxes that can be selected or deselected by touching the box like this. Pressing the Exit button to the right of the screen returns to the home page. In some cases, touching the screen opens a window with several items to choose from. For example, touch the small rectangle in the upper right corner of the screen to open the Page menu, like a drop-down menu on a computer. You'll notice one of the items in the menu is Easy Mode. For the moment, touch anywhere outside the menu to make it disappear. Easy Mode reduces the amount of displayed parameters of the home page of Style Play and Song Play, making a simpler and easier interface. Let me show you what I mean. You'll notice that the screen has a lot of information and there are several tabs with more information. Open the Page menu, touch Easy Mode. You'll notice now that the screen has only the most basic information with no additional tabs. This is very useful for performance, or when you just want the basic functions of Style Play and Song Play. For this video, Easy Mode needs to be off, so open the Page menu again and touch Easy Mode to turn it off. Your screen should look like this. Press Style Play and Song Play simultaneously to enter Demo Mode. Your Havian-30 comes with several demo songs. After a few seconds, the first song starts and will play through each of the songs, showing the sounds, styles, and capabilities of this amazing instrument. You can jump to specific songs by selecting from one of these three categories: full songs, solo instruments, or styles. Touch Full Songs, then select a song, for example, Latin Jazz. Pressing Exit returns you to the demo category selection. Pressing one of the mode buttons exits from demo mode. Press Style Play. The Havian-30 is designed so that when you turn it off and on, the status of a few of the panel switches will return to how they were when you turned it off. For example, if autofill was on, then it will be on after you restart. If it was off, then it will be off when you restart. This ensures that the Havian-30 is exactly how you like it set up as soon as you turn it on. For the purposes of this video manual, we need to start with your Havian-30 set the same as mine, so make sure the following switches are set this way. Autofill should be on, the accompaniment and memory buttons should be on, and manual bass should be off. To avoid wasting power, your Havian-30 will automatically turn off if you don't play it, press any buttons, or use the touch screen for a period of 2 hours. Please save your data, for example performances, styles, songs, etc., that you are working on before taking a prolonged pause. This auto power-off feature is on by default, but can be shut off in global mode. If you have assembled and connected the optional stand, your damper pedal will already be connected. If not, be sure to connect the DS2H damper pedal that came with your Havian-30 here. Like on a piano, holding down a damper pedal sustains the notes you are playing. The Havian-30 features half damping as well. Sounds. Since the high-quality Havian-30 sounds are the basis of the styles and your playing, in this chapter we'll look at the sounds in depth. When the instrument is first turned on, a stereo piano is across the whole range of the keyboard. You can have a maximum of 4 simultaneous sounds on the keyboard at one time, called keyboard tracks. They're displayed here and are referred to as upper 1, upper 2, upper 3, and lower. In this example, upper 1 is Grand Piano RX1. You can choose a different sound for upper 1 by touching here. Choose a sound, for example, Upright Piano RX. You'll notice that after a few seconds it returns to the home page. This means that display hold is off. This is very useful when playing, but for the purposes of this video we need display hold turned on. Go to Global, touch General Controls, then go to the Interface tab. Turn Display Hold On by touching this box. Go back to Style Play mode. Now when we select a new sound, for example the previous sound Grand Piano RX1, this screen stays open until you press Exit. We'll turn Display Hold off again in the Global Media and Updates chapter. Okay, you'll notice that though upper 2 and upper 3 have sounds assigned, they are muted. You can unmute and mute the sounds by touching here. Split is off, so the upper sound or sounds are across the lower and upper range of the keyboard. If I press Split, the keyboard is split with the upper sounds above the current split point, and the lower sound can now be heard below the split point. To the right, these buttons access more keyboard track setups called performances. It's important to understand the difference between a sound and a performance. Sounds are used individually or combined together for your keyboard tracks. Sometimes your keyboard tracks might be a layer of 3 sounds on the top plus a sound in the lower, or 2 sounds in the upper and no sound in the lower, or simply 1 sound across the whole keyboard. Whatever your keyboard tracks are, including the levels, whether it's a split or not, etc., they can be saved and recalled as a performance. Think of the performances as a library of your favorite keyboard track setups. The performances are grouped together in categories. Press Electric Piano. This automatically selects an electric piano performance, usually the first one. It also opens a window with an immediate choice of 8 others. To select another in this category, simply touch the name, for example, Tremolo E Piano. These tabs along the bottom take you to more performances in that category to choose from. You can also press the Category button repeatedly to step through the tabs. When you go to another category, again, it auto-selects one of the performances. Let's choose this other strings and pads performance. When we go back to electric piano, you'll notice that the last performance we chose in this category, Tremolo E Piano, is now the one auto-selected. Use the on-screen tabs to go back to the strings and pads category. The last performance chosen is always the one auto-selected until another is selected in that category or until the Havian-30 is turned off. However, it's possible to save your current selections so they're kept even after the instrument is turned off. Then your favorite performance of each category will be the first one auto-selected with a single press of a button. We'll look at this in the Global Media and Updates chapter. Press Exit. There are several performances already included, and you can make changes to them and then save them to one of the performance locations. Let's start with this one. Press this button with the picture of a piano. It will always take you to the grand piano performance. It's a fast and easy way to get to the most important sound of the Havian-30. This is also the first performance that comes up when the instrument is turned on. Okay, let's make some changes. You can select a different sound for any of the 4 keyboard track sounds. Touch the upper 1 area in the upper right corner of the screen containing the name of the current sound, Grand Piano RX1. Touch any sound on the screen to select the one you want, for example, Bright Piano RX. Press Exit to return to the home page. You can also press the Sound button from the group of selection buttons to open the same sound selection window. The screen displays 8 sounds at a time, and you can access more sounds by touching the tabs along the bottom. Pressing the Sound Selection button repeatedly steps through the tabs. The sounds are grouped in categories, which can be selected using the tabs on the left and right. Additional groups of sounds can be accessed with the tabs along the top. Go to the Factory tab Electric Piano category, page 3, and select Classic Tines. Press Exit. Pressing the split button splits the keyboard at middle C and gives you access to the lower sound. You can choose a different split point by holding down the split button for a few seconds until this appears on the screen. Then play the note where you want the split to be. By the way, when the style is stopped, as it is now, you'll notice that even if lower is muted, the lower sound will play as well as the bass sound from the style. This is called bass and lower backing, and is very useful for playing introductions to songs. However, if you wish, you can disable this function in Global. We'll look at this in the Global, Media, and Updates chapter. Let's unmute upper 3. You can adjust the levels of each of the keyboard tracks here on the Volume tab. Let's save these changes to one of the performance locations by holding down any one of the performance category buttons until this screen appears. Touching this T takes you to where you can rename the performance. Touch OK to confirm the text. Then touch here to choose the category and location you want it saved to. Let's save it to one of these empty locations at the end of the electric piano category. Press Exit. Touch OK, then Yes. Guitar and Synth category, page 4, Portamento lead. Exit. To the left of the volume knob, there's a joystick that helps to add nuance and expression to your keyboard tracks. Pushing it to the left and right changes the pitch. Pushing forward adds vibrato. And pulling back does different things depending on the sound. There are 125 different studio quality effects inside your Havian-30. 2 of these effects can be used at the same time for the accompaniment tracks and 2 at the same time for the keyboard tracks. For example, you'll notice a reverb effect and a delay effect on this synth sound. The amount of each of the effects can be adjusted. Press Menu, then Mixer Tuning, and go to the Effects Send page. The word Effects is abbreviated as FX. The Track Select button toggles between displaying the accompaniment tracks and the keyboard tracks. Display the keyboard tracks. These parameters control the amount of the 2 separate effects for each of the keyboard track sounds. If you wanted to keep the adjustment you made, you'd need to save it to a performance location like we did earlier in this chapter. Press Exit. Select the grand piano performance for the next section. Let's look at the metronome, an integral tool for helping a musician practice. Turn on the metronome. The metronome can be adjusted in a few ways. The tempo, using the dial, or touch the displayed tempo. A numeric keypad appears and you can enter the tempo you want. Or use the tempo up-down buttons. Reset the tempo to the original setting by pressing the 2 buttons simultaneously. You can also adjust the volume, the accent. Some windows have a safety pin icon. Touching it pins the window open so it doesn't close immediately after touching a selection. Touch the safety pin to close the window. The time signature can be selected here. Turn off the metronome. In the next chapter, we'll look at styles, which, by the way, are much more fun to play along with than a metronome. In that chapter, you'll see that sounds are also used by the different tracks of the style accompaniment. For example, the bass track might use a synth bass sound, another track might use an electric piano sound, etc. So basically, the keyboard tracks, performances, and style tracks are all accessing the same library of sounds inside your Havian-30. And there are hundreds of sounds to choose from, so the possibilities are endless. Styles. I'm sure that one of the main reasons you chose the KORG HAVIAN-30 was the high-quality styles that make it inspiring and quite simply fun to play. Let's look at playing and selecting styles. The first style that is selected when you turn on the instrument is Unplugged Ballad 1. You should still have the grand piano sound from the previous chapter. If not, select it again. Play a chord anywhere on the keyboard with 3 or more notes, and press Start. Each style has 15 style elements. These are used to recreate the parts of songs, introductions, verses, choruses, endings, etc. You use these buttons to select the style element. This style is playing Intro 1. The flashing light above Variation 2 means that after playing the intro, it will go to that variation. You'll notice that the countdown of the measures remaining in the intro are displayed on the screen here. As you go from Variation 1 to 4, the musical parts naturally build and get busier in the same way a typical song builds. You'll notice that since autofill is on, a fill is automatically played into the selected variation. Of course, you can turn this off so no fill is played. Turn it back on. Starting and stopping is done using the same button here. Press Stop. To select a new style, touch the style name and simply touch the style you want. For now, select Unplugged Ballad 3 and press Exit. Each style has 4 keyboard setups saved with it called Single Touch Settings, abbreviated as STS. You can quickly access them by pressing the STS buttons under the screen. Here on the STS Name tab, you can see the names and touch them directly on the screen. Let's use STS2. Now select Intro 1. Split is on, so play a chord in the lower range. Press Start. Intro 1 has a chord progression. Intro 2 doesn't have a chord progression. It's designed to respond to your chords. Intro 3 is a short intro designed to get into the song quickly. Endings 1, 2, and 3 work the same way. You can also press the Style button from the group of selection buttons to open the Style selection window. The styles are grouped in categories and can be selected on screen using the tabs on the left and right. The tabs along the bottom take you to pages with more styles in that category. Like we saw before with the Sound Selection button, pressing the Style Selection button repeatedly steps through the pages of styles. Select the Funk and Soul category, then Cool Funk. Press Exit. Even though we selected a new style, the previous keyboard tracks stay the same until we choose one of the new style's STS or one of the performances. Select this style's STS1. You'll notice that Split is on. So the Havian-30 is now using lower chord scanning, triggering the chords below the split point. Play a chord in the lower range and press Start. You can also choose to turn Split off and trigger the chords using full chord scanning, triggering the chords anywhere on the keyboard. With full chord scanning, the chord isn't triggered until you play 3 or more notes. In Global, you can select different systems of triggering chords. Go to the Ballroom category and select Jive 1. Press Exit. As you can see, you can change to another style without stopping. Let's use the piano for this next section. There are several ways to interact with the styles. You may find one that will be your preferred way, or you may use different ones depending on the song you are playing. For example, this accompaniment button turns the accompaniment on and off, giving you the option to play along with the drums only. Turn accompaniment back on and play a chord. Manual bass mutes the accompaniment except for drums and percussion and allows you to play bass in the lower along with the upper keyboard tracks. Turn off manual bass and play a chord. Go to the Volume tab. These on-screen buttons quickly mute different sections of the accompaniment. For example, you may want to play along with just the drums and bass. Or just the bass and accompaniment. Make sure all 3 are set to play. This Track Select button switches between displaying the keyboard tracks and the accompaniment tracks. Display the accompaniment tracks. Here you can mute individual tracks, so for example, you can mute the track with the piano part so you can play a piano part instead. The piano icon on accompaniment 2, abbreviated as ACC2, is the piano part. Touch the ACC2 track, and then touch it again and the track is muted. Touching repeatedly mutes and unmutes the track, P for play and M for mute. Country category, Easy Country, Exit, STS1. You'll notice that the bass will always play the root of the chord you are playing no matter what inversion you play. If you go to the Split tab and turn on bass inversion, the bass will play the lowest note in your chord. Bass inversion on-off is saved with each STS or performance. Press Stop. Traditional category, Page 2, German Polka. Select STS3. Ensemble can be used to add harmonies to the upper sounds based on the chords you play. You can select from a variety of different harmonies. Hold down Shift and press Ensemble to jump to the Ensemble Edit page. Press Exit. There are a few ways to start and stop a style. For example, tap tempo. It's similar to counting in a band by saying 1, 2, 3, 4 at the tempo of the song. Hold down the Shift button and press the metronome button. This style is in 4/4, so I need to tap the Start button 4 times, then the style will start at that tempo. If the style was 3/4, I would tap it 3 times, 2/4 twice, etc. With styles that have a high beat number, such as 9/8 or 12/8, you can select how many taps start the style. For this next way of starting a song, let's use one of the special styles designed for piano from the piano style category. These piano styles are focused on the piano part in a variety of musical genres, as you see here: classical, jazz, pop, etc. Let's use this one from page 3, Shuffle piano, exit, then STS1. To the right of the 4 STS buttons, you will find the Synchro Start-Stop button. This controls how the accompaniment starts or stops as you play the keyboard. Press the button until Synchro Start and Stop are both off. Pop category, Pop Chart 1, exit, STS1. Chord Sequencer allows you to record a chord progression and have it loop. Just before the start of a measure, press these 2 buttons simultaneously. Then play your chord progression. You'll notice the red chord icon flashing in the screen. With both hands available, more complex chords can be triggered. Just before the end of a measure, press these 2 buttons. Now the chord progression will loop, freeing up both hands to play the keyboard tracks. In the previous chapter, we saw how keyboard tracks could be edited and saved to one of the performance locations. Changes can be made to a style as well. Volume tab, display accompaniment tracks. For example, choosing a different drum kit. Bass sound, or any sound of the accompaniment tracks. Adjusting the tempo, customizing the 4 single-touch settings, and much more. However, it's best to keep the factory styles unchanged. Songbook is the perfect way to customize the styles to your needs without affecting the original style, as you'll see in the Songbook chapter. Song play. Let's go to song play mode. The Havian-30 has the ability to play several types of song files, standard MIDI files, karaoke MIDI files, and even MP3 files. Plus, it's designed so that playing these files is integrated smoothly into your performance in a useful and flexible way. The files are played directly from the internal drive or from media like a USB stick inserted into the USB host port on the back. If you want to follow along with the exercises in this chapter, you'll need a USB memory device with a standard MIDI file, a karaoke MIDI file, and an MP3 file on it. If you don't have this right now, you can always come back later if you want when you do. Okay, reach back and insert it into the USB port on the back of the instrument. Touch the player area on the screen, and the window opens to select the song you want. Currently, the internal drive is displayed, so touch here and change it to the USB drive we inserted. If there are several files, you can use the scroll bar to move up and down, or touch one of the files and use the dial. Touch the name of the MIDI file you want to play. Touch Select, then press Start. The song is loading and playing at the same time, so it starts immediately. Press Stop. Let's look at the other transport controls. M on the screen is short for measure, displaying the measure the song is currently at. If we press Start, it will continue from the point we stopped at. These 3 buttons are used for additional transport controls when in song play mode and sequencer mode, as you can see here written below the buttons. Pressing the rewind button goes back 1 measure at a time. The fast forward button goes forward 1 measure at a time. Holding down either button scrolls quickly. This button returns the song to the beginning. All 3 buttons can be used while the song is playing as well. The tempo of the song can be adjusted quickly by holding down Shift and using the dial. The other methods are available as well. However, tap tempo can only be used to set the tempo of styles. By the way, you'll notice a lock button beside the tempo up-down buttons. Pressing this locks the current tempo value and keeps that tempo when you change to the next song or style. The Havian-30 has several tools to interact with the song player, for example, playing along. You can quickly select one of the performances to use. Some MIDI files have lyrics embedded in them, for example, a file with a .kar extension. Let's load a .kar song into the song player, this time by pressing Song from the group of selection buttons. Press Start. To display the lyrics, press the Lyrics button located to the right of the value dial. The lyrics follow along. The Havian-30 can also display +G graphical format as well as lyrics embedded in MP3s. If there are no lyrics, you have the option to have the lyrics in a text file and use the dial or the screen to advance the pages of text. This will be explained in the songbook chapter. Pressing the Score button displays a selected track's musical notation. Press Exit and stop. Now let's select an MP3 using the same method we used to play a MIDI file. Press Start. Playing an MP3 on the Havian-30 is very flexible. Of course, you can quickly choose a performance to play along with the MP3. But there's much more. For example, you can transpose the song, or adjust the tempo. If there are lyrics embedded, pressing the Lyrics button will display them. This control of an MP3 allows you to take a song, adjust the tempo, adjust the pitch to a key you can comfortably sing it in, then sing and play along following the lyrics displayed on the screen. You'll be able to perform almost any song. Incredible power. Songbook. Songbook is an extremely powerful feature of your Havian-30. It's a programmable musical database. As you'll see in this chapter, it's perfect for customizing a style to suit a particular song, as well as keeping your MIDI files and MP3s organized. Press Songbook from the group of selection buttons. Basically, you have a list of song titles. These are called song entries. When you select a song entry, it automatically brings up a style, a standard MIDI file, a karaoke MIDI file, or an MP3 for you to use to perform that song. There are several already provided by KORG, and of course you can create your own. Notice that you can sort by different criteria by touching the top of each column. Touch the top of the name column. Touch a song entry. And touch Select. You're automatically taken to Style Play mode. The appropriate style has been called up to perform that song with the best choice of intro and variation. 4 STS are also saved with the song entry, as well as tempo, effects, and much more. Let's create our own songbook entry using a style. Press Exit to go to the Style Play Mode homepage, and select from the Jazz category, Fast Big Band 1. Press Exit, STS1. We can set the style up exactly how we want it to appear later, for example, starting with Variation 2, with Intro 2 as the introduction. Always select the variation you want first, then the intro you want. Let's also slow down the tempo a bit and set it to 140 BPM. A quick way to save a song entry is to hold down the Songbook selection button. This takes us to the Save screen. It has the current name of the style. Touch T and name the song entry My Song. Touch OK to confirm the text. Touch OK, then Yes. Done. We made some basic changes to the style before saving it to Songbook, but as we saw in the Styles chapter, you can change the instrumentation of the style, make edits to any of the sounds, and much more, and then save it as a Songbook entry. And this can all be done without affecting the original style. Back to Songbook, and there's our song entry. Let's add a standard MIDI file to Songbook. The Havian-30 doesn't come with any MIDI files or MP3s. All the song entries from the factory are set up to recall styles, so we'll use one of the standard MIDI files from the USB thumb drive. Like with the style we added, we set up everything how we want it and then save it to Songbook. Press Exit to leave Songbook, then go to Song Play mode. Select a MIDI file. As before, hold down the Songbook selection button to go to the Save screen. It has the current name of the standard MIDI file. We'll leave it as it is. Touch OK, touch Yes. We saved a MIDI file this time, but we could have saved an MP3 or a karaoke MIDI file to the Songbook using the same method. You can edit and add things to your Songbook entry later on. For example, let's add an STS and lyrics to the entry we just made. Back to Songbook. Choose another performance. Go to Book Edit 1 tab and select the STS Write Current box. And choose to save it to STS1. Book Edit 2 is where you can input information like the genre of the song and the artist. This helps when searching later for a type of song you want to play. You can even save the key info to remind you what key the song is in. Book Edit 3 has more parameters that can be saved with the song entry. For example, the status of the synchro start-stop if your song entry is a style. This is also where we add the lyrics. I've already used my computer to create a .txt file with the lyrics to this song and saved it to my USB stick. Touch Browse. Navigate to the USB drive. Touch the TXT file and then select. OK, we're ready to save everything. Touch Write. We'll leave the name the same. Touch OK, then Yes to confirm. Now go to the Book tab and select the Songbook entry we just created. STS1 is just as we wanted. Press Lyrics, and there are the lyrics. However, this is just a text file, so the lyrics won't follow along. Use the scroll bar or the dial to advance to the next page of lyrics. Go back to Songbook. You may want to put together a particular list of songs. For example, songs you want to play when friends come over, or perhaps you're using the Havian-30 to perform somewhere. You can prepare several custom lists using Songbook. Go to the Custom List tab. Here you can select which list you want. As you can see, KORG has included a few already. Once a list is selected, you simply touch the song you want. Then select. The song entry will turn green and it's ready to be played. You can touch Next to select the next entry in the list. Let's create our own list. Open the Page menu and check Enable List Edit, and then touch outside the menu. The List Edit tab becomes available. Touch it. You can either edit an existing list or create a new one. We want to create a new one, so touch New List. Then Yes. Now let's add the first song entry we made called My Song. Go to the Book tab. There are many song entries, so you can use the scroll bar or the dial to find the song. But let's use the search function to find our song. Press the search button. Type the name of what you're looking for. You can type in the whole name or just part of it. Type in My and touch Search. Here are all the Songbook entries with My in the name. There's ours. Touch it, then select. This search feature can be used in different modes to locate any resource, including styles, performances, etc. Now that we've selected the song, touch Add to List. Go to the List Edit tab, and there's our song. Let's go back to the Book tab and add another 2 songs. Back to List Edit tab. We can move the songs around by selecting a song entry and using the move up and down arrows. Once the list is ready, touch right. Name it. Touch OK to confirm the text. OK, then Yes to save the list. Now open the Page menu and uncheck Enable List Edit. Touch the Custom List tab, and there's our list. Go to the Book tab. You'll notice that the names of the songs included are recognizable, but not the exact title you may be familiar with. But you can usually tell what song it's referring to. You can rename a song entry by selecting it, touching Book Edit 1, then Right. As always, touching the T takes you to the text input screen. For now, touch Cancel or Exit twice. Press Exit to leave Songbook. There's also a free songbook editor for PC available for download from KORG.com. It's a powerful and useful tool that includes fast multiple import for standard MIDI files and MP3s, plus many editing features. A video explaining Songbook and the editor in detail can be found on KORG.com as well. Recording a song. In this chapter, we'll look at the 2 ways you can record yourself using the Havian-30. Backing sequence, also called quick record, and MP3 recording. Depending on what you want to do with your recorded song, you may choose to use one method over the other. For example, MP3 recording records the audio created by the Havian-30 as an MP3 file that you can quickly and easily send to friends and family because the MP3 can be played by other computers and MP3 devices. However, the MP3 cannot be edited and additional audio tracks cannot be added. Backing sequence quick record is a type of MIDI recording that records each part on a separate track. Drums on one track, bass on another track, etc. The tracks contain digital information that trigger the sounds of the Havian-30. This means that each track can be fully edited, for example copying a measure and pasting it in another location of the song, or even changing a single note on a track to a different note. Additional tracks can be added as well. Both methods are very easy to use. Let's look at MP3 recording first. Select any style you wish, for example from the rock category, Page 1, Pop Rock, and press Exit. While holding down Shift, press the Record button located to the left of the screen. When you're ready, touch Record on the screen. Touch Stop on the screen. Touch T to name the MP3. Touch Browse and select the USB drive. Touch OK and then touch Save. The MP3 you created can be played in song play mode or by any MP3 player. Now let's record using backing sequence. With most MIDI recorders, you have to record each track separately. Record the drums, then record the bass, then record the piano, etc., which can take a long time. With backing sequence, you use any style and simply play the chords and select the style elements like variation 1, ending 2, etc. As you play, each of the accompaniment tracks is recorded on a separate sequencer track simultaneously. That's why it's sometimes called quick record. Go to Style Play mode and select a style. I'm going to use this one from the Dance category, Dance Chart 1. Go to Sequencer mode and press the Record button. Select Backing Sequence Quick Record on the screen and touch OK. Let's choose Variation 2 and use Break to start the song off. Set the resolution to 1/8 notes. This will correct the input of your chords and style elements, not the music, to the nearest 1/8 note. This isn't necessary, but can help to make the chord changes and style element selections happen exactly where you want them. Pressing the Start-Stop button will simultaneously start the style and start the sequencer recording after a 1-measure pre-count. I'm going to use STS1. Trigger the initial chord first. Now we're ready. Press Start. Notice that I'm simply playing chords and choosing different style elements. Press Stop. It will automatically bring the song back to measure 1. Press Start. All the tracks of the style have been recorded following the chords, variations, endings, etc. This is already impressive. The song you just created would have taken hours and hours to make with a traditional sequencer. Now imagine you made a mistake or changed your mind about the chord progression or what variation should have been used. With a traditional sequencer, you have to edit every single track, even if you simply wanted an E7 chord instead of an A minor chord. With the Havian-30, all you do is press Record, choose Step Backing Sequence, and touch OK. Let's change the first chord from A minor to E7 by selecting the chord and simply playing the new chord on the keyboard. Or change it using the screen. You can step through the events by measure, by 1/8 note, or by each event, and not only change the chords you played, but even the style elements, like changing Variation 3 to Variation 4. Touch Done, and then Yes. Press Start to hear the changes. Now let's add an additional track to our song. Press the Record button and this time choose Multi-Track Sequencer. Here you can add additional tracks to your song by selecting a track, for example track 8. I'm going to set the recording resolution to high so it won't correct my timing. Press the Record button to exit recording and press Start. As I mentioned earlier, you can edit your song. Pressing Menu will take you to these edit pages. Press Exit. When the Havian-30 is turned off, the song you just created will be erased. If you leave from sequencer mode to another mode, for example Style Play, the song will be erased as well, but a warning does appear telling you this will delete the song. Touch No to cancel, and let's save the song to the USB flash drive. Open the Page menu and select Save Song. The USB is probably still the selected device, so just touch Save. Touch the T and name your song. Touch OK to confirm the text, then OK, then Yes to save it. The song has been saved as a standard MIDI file that can be played in song play mode or loaded into other sequencers. Go to Song Play mode. We've saved the song, so touch Yes in reply to the prompt. Now let's select the song we just made. Press this button to bring the song back to measure 1. A standard MIDI file can be played in song play mode and simultaneously recorded as an MP3. The Havian-30 is an incredible tool to create your own music. The styles inspire you, and then you have several ways to capture your inspiration. Then your song can be shared with the world as an MP3. Global, media, and updates. Press Global. Press Menu. Global is where you can access things that affect the instrument as a whole, like master tuning, master EQ, etc. Let's look at a few examples. There are global parameters that affect the different modes. Select Mode Preferences. In the Styles chapter, we saw how the bass and lower sound play when the style is stopped. This is where that function, bass and lower backing, can be turned on or off. Any changes to global are automatically saved into memory. In the Sounds chapter, we saw how selecting a performance category button auto-selects a particular performance in that category. Menu, General Controls, then the Interface tab. This auto-select feature is turned on and off here. You can see it's available when selecting style categories as well if you wish. If you want to save your current performance or style category selections so they won't be lost after turning the instrument off and on, you would touch this Save button. By the way, you can turn Display Hold off now if you want by touching here. In some cases, you may need to calibrate your damper pedal. If so, touch Menu, Controllers, then touch the Foot Controller tab. Touch Calibration. Press and hold down the pedal and touch here. Now release the pedal and touch here. Menu, Audio and EQ. If you want to connect to an external speaker system, you use the headphone output. You choose whether the output is being used for headphones or line out here. You can adjust the overall EQ of the Havian-30 on this Master EQ tab to add more low frequencies, high frequencies, etc. Press Media. Here you can access the internal memory to save and load your own data. It's also possible to connect to a computer using the USB device port on the back, allowing you to access the Havian-30 internal memory. For example, to drag and drop MP3 files between your computer and the Havian-30. Media also gives you access to whatever is connected to the USB host port on the back, for example USB pen drives, hard drives, etc. As you can see, Media allows a variety of options to load, save, copy, and more. Let's save all our Havian-30 data to the USB drive to see how the process is done. Go to the Save tab, touch All, and touch Save To. Choose the USB drive. Touch New Set. Touch the T and name your file, for example, My Backup. Touch OK to confirm the text, and OK again. Here we can select what data we want to save. That's why it's called a set. It's a collection of different types of data. Leave the selection as it is and touch OK, then Yes to confirm. To load a file, go to the Load tab. Select the USB drive. Touch the data you want to load. I'm going to choose my backup.set. You can touch Open and select individual data to load. For this example, we'll load everything, so touch Close, reselect my backup.set, touch Load, then Yes. Remember that there are several resources available from KORG.com, like more video tutorials, software, sounds, and many more styles. Even though a style may have been created for a different KORG Arranger keyboard, when you load them in, they will automatically be converted to work in your Havian-30. By the way, for some reason you may want to go back to the original factory preload. This is possible, but be careful, because this will erase all of your user styles, sounds, songbook entries, etc., and load in the factory data. So you may want to back up your own data to external media first, like we did earlier in this chapter. To reload the factory data, still in Media, go to the Utility tab. Select Factory Restore, and then touch Execute. You can restore all the factory data or uncheck all, and then choose the specific things you want to restore. I don't want to do this right now, so I'll press Cancel or Exit to stop the process. It's a good idea to check KORG.com occasionally for operating system updates to your Havian-30. KORG looks for ways to improve your instrument, including the addition of features requested by Havian-30 owners. The operating system version of your Havian-30 is displayed in the lower left of this utility page. If you need to update your operating system, or OS as it's called, download the OS file from KORG.com. It will be named something like this. The V100 refers to the OS version number. Unzip the archive, then copy the .pkg file to a USB device like a flash drive. To be safe, be sure to back up any of your own data that's on the internal drive before installing a new OS. Usually there's no problem, but it's best to make a backup in case something does happen. Turn off the Havian-30, then insert the USB device containing the PKG file. Now hold down Intro 1 and turn on the Havian-30. Keep holding Intro 1 until System Update appears on the screen. Release the Intro 1 button, then, when prompted, do the touchscreen calibration. The prompt asks you to select the PKG file to install. Touch OK. Select the USB drive, then touch the PKG file if it isn't already selected. Press Select. The Havian-30 verifies the PKG file, then this screen appears. Touch Update and the update process begins. Do not remove the USB media or turn off the Havian-30 during the update process. It will reset on its own. Wait until you see this message. Then turn the Havian-30 off, then on, and the update is complete. Okay, that's it. We hope you found this video helpful, and remember that for more information, the PDF manuals cover every detail of this amazing instrument. Everyone at KORG wants to thank you for purchasing your Havian-30. You have so much musical enjoyment ahead of you. You made the right choice. Stand assembly. In this chapter, we'll look at assembling the optional stand. There are instructions in the box the stand came in, but this will give you a pictorial explanation that you may find helpful. Lay the back panel on the floor, with the attached metal brackets facing up. Place the two side panels on either side of the back panel, with the attached metal brackets towards you. Raise up one side of the side panel and one end of the back panel. Match up the holes of the side panel to the brackets of the back panel. Use two of the long screws to connect the two pieces. Don't tighten the screws completely. Wait until both have been screwed in, then tighten all the way. Cover the screws with the plastic caps. Use two more long screws to attach the opposite end of the back panel to the other side panel in the same way. Once both screws are tightened securely, cover the screws with the plastic caps. Lift the stand up. The metal brackets of the side panels should be on top. Make sure the two metal extensions of the support bar are pointing into the stand. Place the metal support bar in the metal brackets. Use two short black screws to connect the support bar to the metal bracket on each end. Screw it in from under the bar. Be sure the support bar is snug against the side panel before inserting the screw. Place the Havian-30 squarely on the stand. Use two silver wing screws to attach the stand to the bottom of the Havian-30. The wing screws go through the holes in the extensions of the support bar and screw directly into the Havian-30. Now connect the damper pedal support to the back panel. Hook the support clamp under the back panel. Center it using the screen of the Havian-30 as a guide. Hook the pedal support over the back panel so the bolt pieces sticking out from the support clamp go through the holes. Screw on two wing nuts onto those bolt pieces. Tighten firmly. Pass the cord of the damper pedal through the pedal support. And hook the damper pedal over the support like this. Plug the damper pedal into the pedal damper jack. Insert the DC plug end of the AC adapter into the DC in jack. Tuck the cord of the AC adapter around the cord hook so the plug won't be removed from the jack accidentally. Insert the AC adapter into the slot. Gather up the loose cabling and attach it to the pedal support using one of the twist ties that was used to tie up the damper pedal or power supply cabling. Plug in the power cord into the AC adapter. Then plug the power cord into an AC outlet. By the way, if you reach under the left side of the keyboard, you'll find a convenient hook on the support bar for hanging your headphones. Remember that over time the screws and wing screws may loosen. You may want to occasionally check them to see if they need to be tightened. Okay, attach the music stand, and you're done.